twilight glow. Cigars in hand, watch the embers slow. Talking life and whiskey, it's a show. Real smoke rides the breeze just so. A puff of wisdom with a sip of fun, guiding through the shadows till the day is done. Inhale the stories, let the laughter run. Real smoke's how all the good times are spun. With a draw and a swirl, watch the worries fade. Mick and Charles got the...
Welcome to the Real Smoke Podcast with your host, Mick and Charles, the podcast that's all about real people, real cigars, and real smoke. Coming to you live from the Real Smoke Virtual Cigar Lounge, bringing you the best of cigars, whiskey, and all the good times in between. This is more than just a podcast, it's a community of cigar lovers. So grab your favorite smoke, pour a drink, and join us as we dive into all things cigars, whiskey, and just having a damn good time. This is the Real Smoke Podcast.
What's up?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of the Real Smoke Podcast. I am Charles, and with me is Mick. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother? Happy Thursday. Here we go.
Happy Thursday. Is it Thursday? I thought it was Wednesday. I do believe it's Wednesday.
You know what? We always do this on Thursday. I'm fucking up already. I didn't even really start drinking yet. That's crazy. You're right.
That's absolutely awesome.
Man, that's great. Happy Wednesday, I guess. I don't know. We'll just go with it.
Happy Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. So, if you notice, I'm wearing my special hat. I always try to wear a hat for whatever brand that we have on. And I've made a comment in the Cigar Club page, group chat, that said, you know that you're losing your mind, or at least you think you are, when you spend the last couple of days looking for a foundation hat, knowing that you have one, and after you've gone through everything that you own, you finally realize you never owned one. So
phenomenal.
I don't know how I haven't owned a foundation hat. So I made my own. There it is. So I now own a foundation hat. Look at this. It is the best hat. So
yeah, I love it. It is good stuff.
Just saying, if our brother Nick over there from Foundation happens to see this and he wants to hook a brother up with a foundation hat, this one would absolutely love it. And I mean, I know that this is the best hat ever, but see, we even tried to think whether I was going to go colored logo or if I was going to go black and white. And it just happened to be that it was voted on as black and white was the best. So I don't know. We'll go with it.
Man.
So we'll wear the foundation hat for the next little while tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, somebody please hook him up. I'm not sure I can do too many more foundation episodes looking at that triangle in the middle of his head. But hey, no, it's great. I think a real one would look a little better. But that's ingenuity that's best, man. I love it.
It reminds me of like that Airbender cartoon thingy where the dude ran around with a triangle on his hat. My brother used to watch that stuff. So
yeah, I love it, man.
It's awesome.
Keep it up.
I know. It's great. So you want to jump into our first segment and get some news out of the way before we bring on our guest?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. What do you got?
Well, as always, it's not Meanwhile in Memphis, I don't think.
There it is.
The news portion of the Real Smoke Podcast is brought to you by Cigar Public. Go to Cigar Public to find all your cigar industry news, cigar reviews, and whiskey articles, and so much more. Again, you can find them at cigarpublic.com or on Instagram at Cigar Public. You know, over the last few weeks when we've been doing all of our news things, you know, we've led off with the same company just about every time. You wouldn't have to know who that company is, would you?
Does it involve a gold, something gold, maybe a diamond? I don't know. Maybe
it does not. It's green.
I lose.
It is the Cavalier cigar. As Cavalier Cigars announces the Green Jacket 2025 release. In a press release earlier this year, Cavalier created a special release cigar that was a shop exclusive for the Vault in Boise, Idaho. After its success, Sebastian has decided to expand the brand to the global market for release in 2025. This project is called the Green Jacket. It references the Masters Golf Tournament taking place every year in Augusta, Georgia. Sebastian states that the decision was made to offer this exclusive release to our esteemed retail partners as part of the international distribution. As a part of our international distribution after the global interest generated with the original release of the Vault in Idaho. I will say this: I have been after this cigar when they have put it out, and I do think that we may be able to get our hands on it.
I believe so. You think it's the original blend? It's everything's exactly the same as when it first came out.
Well, let's go over that. The Green Jacket is a 7x47 Churchill that comes in 11 count boxes. 10 of the cigars are the 2025 blend that were 10 of the cigars are in the 2025 blend that were in the 2024. The wrapper is Jamastran Claro. The binder is a Habano from Honduras. And the fillers are Sumatra, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Paraguay. I'm going to absolutely love the cigar.
Hell yeah. Sounds tasty.
They're suggesting trying to sell the cigar as a box, but it will go for about $198 a box. It's scheduled to release at the end of March 2025. So,
yeah.
Once again, Cavalier, we started off with you.
Heck yeah.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah. No,
let's move on to the next one. So, it looks like Deadwood just put out their newest cigar or their new iteration of a cigar. Drew Estate has announced that it has unveiled the Deadwood Tobacco Company Sweet Jane Limited Edition. October has become quite the popular month for cigar makers, with numerous brands throwing their hats in the ring to debut Halloween and death-themed blends to the market. Drew Estate most lately has jumped on this trend with their newest launch from the Deadwood Tobacco Company, just in time for this year's autumn festivities. The Sweet Jane Limited Edition Dia de los Muertos, according to Drew Estate, wrapped in a lush, deep Maduro leaf, the Dia de los Muertos cigar is an ultra-premium smoke that delivers full-bodied richness, captivating aroma that Deadwood fans have come to expect. While this precise blend of the binder and filler remains undisclosed, the Maduro wrapper promises a smooth, opulent experience that will resonate with aficionados, whether an occasional or seasoned cigar smoker. There's a lot more on Cigar Public if you would like to go read it, but they are coming in 20 count boxes with a suggested retail of $240 per box. So you're looking at what, $12 a stick?
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people love those.
What ones?
I know a lot of people love them. I could give them or take them, honestly. I'm not trying to be too negative about them. I know a lot of people truly love them. They're just not usually in my wheelhouse.
I remember when I first started smoking cigars, I was huge into the Leather Rose. I did try to smoke a Leather Rose probably 6 months ago or maybe a little bit longer than that, but could not get into it anymore. It was just overly sweet, syrupy taste that I could not get past.
That's exactly where I'm at with it. Just too sweet for me.
Yeah. We got one more. Let's see. Have you heard of Domain Cigars?
I have.
You got something new.
Okay.
All right. Domain celebrates a milestone with the N7B prototype and announces a new blend. In a press release, when Daniel Lance joined forces with veteran cigar blender Esteban Disla in 2023 to create Domain Cigars, their final wave vertically integrated cigar company, they launched with just 2 blends in their catalog. Now the company is pleased to announce with this release of a prototype that has been 6 months in the making, as well as another production blended to expand their lineup. Let's see. According to a statement shared by Domain Cigars 6 months ago, Domain Cigars marketed the launch with the release of the exclusive 1 out of 100 celebration boxes, 1 of 100 celebration boxes containing a prototype cigar labeled N7B. This prototype represents the first project to receive approval for production, although the release faced delays due to several unforeseen challenges. Let's see. It features a USA-grown AAA Connecticut broadleaf wrapper and a Nicaraguan filler and binder, 90% of which is derived from Domain Cigars' popular Nictropothy. I can't say that word. And has been highly anticipated with its double Ajero composition. Again, a lot more on Cigar Public if you want to go read about it. But they plan on doing a Toro, a Robusto Extra, a Robusto Gordo, and a Shaggy Bellicoso. So yeah, that seems to be what they've got coming out as well. So I think I've smoked something from them. I'm not quite sure, but yeah,
Definitely had them once or twice. They're a solid stick. I'm interested to see what this one's like.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the green jacket. I mean, I know all the other ones on there are going to be extremely good, but I'm excited for the green jacket.
Anything Cavalier, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all I've got for this one. The news portion of the Real Smoke podcast was brought to you by Cigar Public. Again, go find them at cigarpublic.com or on Instagram at Cigar Public. So, ready to move into the cigar? I know we're already smoking on it, and everybody we've been posting about it. So, before we get into the cigar, let's talk about who sponsors this cigar. This cigar is brought to you by Beard Apothecary. We love our Beard Apothecary. Beard Apothecary is a small business dedicated to crafting high-quality beard care products made in small batches to ensure freshness and attention to detail. Proper beard care is essential for maintaining a healthy, well-groomed beard, and using only premium butters and oils is crucial. These high-quality ingredients deeply nourish the hair, skin, and preventing issues like dryness, irritation, as well as split ends. Beard Apothecary's commitment to using only the best natural ingredients ensures that your beard stays soft, manageable, and is looking its best. Come check them out at beardapothecary.com or on Instagram at Beard Apothecary. Your beard will thank you. So the cigar that we are smoking today is the Foundation Cigar Company Wise Man Maduro, and this is the new Wise Man Maduro. It has a wrapper that is Mexican San Andres, a binder that is Esteli and Jalapa, and fillers from Esteli, Condega, and Jalapa. Typically, this size that we're smoking today typically goes for about $12.50 a cigar. So, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
You've got yours already lit up. I've been talking, so mine went out. But, yeah. As always, that review will come later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm so far a little earthy, but I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a foundation stick, but little earthy, but it's good.
Little earthy. Wait till you get to the second, third.
I'm just about there.
All righty, so it's time to bring on our guest. Let's go ahead and bring these fellas on. Let me move things around a little bit. Tonight's guest is... There we go. We have Chad and Tyler from the Honest Cigar Experience. What's up, boys? You might want to turn your mics on.
What's up, brother?
What's up?
Man, it's been a while since I heard that.
Right. I think Tyler's broken. He's got the little wheel of death going on over there.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh. Tyler broke himself.
I don't think he paid his internet bill.
You don't think he paid his internet bill? I get that.
Oh man, we're really excited to have you guys. I don't even know if Tyler could hear us, but super excited to have you guys, man. We said from minute one we want to get to know these other podcasts and promote you guys, you know. And we Charles and I love what you do, and you know, it's just a lot of fun. Obviously, the TriStar and everything, it brings us together, man, and that's really what this is about for all of us. But we're super excited to have you, man.
Thank you.
Well, we're seeing if our brother can jump back on here. Yeah, he's done left. He said peace out. So while that happens, we did have Robert jump on here, and he said foundation. So yeah, I created one of my foundation logos that was pronounced or spelled that way as well. So Jordan's on here, and he says, "What's up from California? I have never been able to say that." He said, "Looking forward to snorkeling my Lancero Wiseman when I get home." He's going to snorkel his Lancero. Got it. That's awesome.
Tyler. California.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan's a good dude, man. He's constantly on here. He's trying to move out of California, but good stuff.
All right, it looks like Tyler's back on here. So once again, welcome, boys. Welcome to the Real Smoke podcast, and we have the Honest Cigar Experience podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I was just telling Chad, man, we appreciate you guys. I don't know if you heard any of that, but I appreciate you guys being on, man. Like we love what you guys do, and for us, it's just about building that community, you know. And we love what you guys do, and we appreciate you being on.
Appreciate you, man. No, it's absolutely our pleasure. We love it. We honored to be here, my guys. You guys are doing a good thing. So love so far. I will take a minute. I don't know if you can see my video here of my hat. That is very official.
Well, I don't know if you can see my hat, but my hat is very official too. And mine, I even have extra patches to go with mine.
I hear you. Just making sure we know who's representing who here. We were blessed to have Nick Melillo join us on our podcast, and he sent me a hat. So I'm just making sure it's coming in visually loud and clear.
Well, I'm just saying, hey, Nick, if you need anybody helping you with your artwork, just saying, I got my crayons and my markers ready for you.
That's my favorite hat. Just saying.
So before we get started,
and if I'm unfortunately we were not able to get some new the new Wiseman, but that is a top tier stick for sure. The Wiseman has always been an easy grab. You go into a cigar shop, you see the Wiseman, you see Foundation, and you can't go wrong with Foundation stick. In my opinion, it's a top tier brand. They don't do a bad cigar, period.
Yeah, it's always one of my go-tos.
I would agree. I enjoy just about everything I smoke from them. I mean, some, of course, I enjoy more than others. But what are you guys smoking tonight? Either one of you smoking? It looks like Tyler is. I
am smoking so I'm a Crown Heads fan. I've been a Crown Heads fan for 15 years. I've loved everything that they do. And so you guys are smoking Maduro. I figured I'd go Maduro as well. So I'm smoking the La Imperiosa from Crown Heads. It is their most bold cigar, and Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper with Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan filler. So lights out cigar, super bold, peppery, oily wrapper, just out of this world. Really love it, but it is it's if you like a bold cigar, the La Imperiosa is where to go.
It's my favorite, bro. For
I will
sure.
just
My
say this
favorite groundhead.
real quickly. We were talking about Domain Cigars introducing a new cigar. Currently on Instagram, Domain Cigars is watching the show. What's up, Domain?
Let's
Oh,
go.
man.
Hey, Domain.
Very
So
nice.
let's go. Let's start talking about the podcast. Before we get in, well, first tell everybody how they can find you, and then we'll go into like how you got started and stuff.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm Tyler. That over there is Chad. Let's not forget Chad.
Thanks, Tyler.
He decided to not be on video. That's all right. That's all right, buddy. I got you. No, we've been we just hit. Gosh, Chad, you tell me. What did we just did episode 205, 206.
Maybe I don't know because somebody didn't get me the notes in time, so it hasn't really been.
Shut your dirty mouth.
So
Get out of here.
just saying.
Hey,
I
Mick,
think
check
it's
the wind.
205. Stand by.
Is that bad?
Yeah.
Fuck. Just mute me. It's fine.
No, we just passed 200 something. And we've had a blast. We've been doing this for a couple years. We really started, gosh, it was probably like July or so of 2020, and I had this idea about, so going way back. So I had been. My wife and I were the marriage pastors of our church back in Washington State when we used to work there, and so we would have couples over and we'd be talking about you know, how's your marriage, how's your gambling addiction, how's your things, how's your drinking going, you know. So we're having these really honest discussions, and we're sitting at a bonfire, and I'm having a cigar, and the guy across the way is having a cigar, and we're kind of like, hey, we're gonna be here for an hour, we might as well not talk about something stupid like the weather. And so let's get honest. Let's have a real discussion. Let's get into the heart stuff. And so we had some powerful conversations, and I've said it for a while that the most amazing conversations I've ever had have always been over a good cigar. And so uh, my wife and I, my family and I, we moved to Nashville, Tennessee about 7 years ago, and I kind of had this like hole in my heart where I was like, man, I really want to get back to that, having a good cigar, talking about something honest, not holding back. And so I was actually working with Chad, and I kept bouncing these ideas off of Chad about like, hey man, what if I did this? He's like, that's a good idea. And I'm like, what if I did that? And he's like, that's a great idea too. And I was like, what if I did this? And he's like, you need to stop talking about it, shut your dirty mouth, and you need to go like buy the microphones and get it done, and go do it. Stop talking about it. You're lingering. You're being you're waiting or whatever. And I was like, you're right, man. So actually, Chad was the one who kicked my ass enough to say like go stop talking about it, just go do it. And so I actually was kind of like, originally it was just going to be me, and then I was like, wait a minute, why don't you just join me? Why don't we just have this together? And I don't really know what I'm doing on the technical side. I don't really know what I'm doing. So we just kind of one day we're like, let's just do it. And so we went to his house. We bought microphones. I had some friends that were in podcasting, so they're like, make sure. So I was like, what do we do? What do we not do? What's some mistakes we could make? And they gave us some good pointers early on. And gosh, I think we just spent a couple $100, bought some microphones, and we just started, and it was rough. It was awful. Golly, we kept saying, you know what? Let's just get to 10 episodes. And once we got to 10 episodes, it was like, man, this is kind of awesome. Let's just keep going. And we never had like grandiose, like, man, let's just get to like 200 episodes or whatever. It was always kind of 10 episodes at a time. And so, you know, excuse my French, excuse my coughing here, but we had episode Chad had a chance to Chad, do you mind if I share that real quick, or do you want to share that bit?
Go for it, my man.
All right. Sorry, I tend to talk for a living, so I kind of take over. But so like there's an episode.
Mick will say the same thing about me. Don't worry about
it. Yeah, we've learned that about you. No, we like so we had a really honest episode where, you know, so Chad actually unfortunately had lost a child. He lost his 19-year-old son a couple years back, and so we had an episode where we just talk about like what does it mean to grieve as a father. What does it mean to go through the process? He just laid it all out, and it was the most honest episode ever. We've talked about anxiety. We've talked about overwhelm. We've talked about, golly, we've talked about, you know, I've come on the episode and been like, man, my wife and I are fighting. I just need to get some stuff off my chest. And so that's kind of been the premise of from the beginning. It then kind of turned into what else is just kind of fun to talk about. I'm a full-fledged level 5 conspiracy theorist. So some episodes were like, let's get in after JFK. What happened? You know, what's Tyler's take on JFK and the assassination? You know, what about 9/11? So we've gone into kind of other areas. We've had episodes where we just talk about whiskey. We've broadened it a bit, but it really started with being able to say, hey, you know what? Listen, how you doing, bud? How's your heart, man? How is your soul? It's like, man, I'm all right. I'm good. You know, life's okay. And it's like, yeah, but how are you really, man? And it's like, I'm dying inside, man. I'm broken. I'm hollow. I'm having a rough week. We've talked about job loss. We've talked about divorce. We've talked about like, it's just been whatever's come across our path. Some weeks we're both just sitting there going, listen, it's been such a freaking week. I'm just gonna sit here and drink and don't judge me, but man, I feel like a piece of shit. And it is the podcast. I'll end with this, and I feel like I'm monologuing at this point, but the podcast has been almost like the counseling and church that we've needed, and we just kind of did it on the air with 38 countries in tow. So we've just had a good time. It's been also incredibly fun. We've laughed a ton. But we've cried and we've bore our souls to the world, and that's kind of what we do. Period.
That sounds awesome. Really, one quick thing, real quick. We have people listening on Instagram and YouTube right now. If you're just tuning in, this is Tyler and Chad from the Honest Cigar Experience podcast. If you guys have any questions that you would like to ask, put them in the comments and we will ask them as we go through. After each time we kind of finish a topic or something, I'll go through and talk about what's going on. And this guy that I'm about to highlight, you know him very well. Robert Courtner says, nice hat, Charles. Thank you. And if you don't know Robert, he makes some fantastic knives that was used to cut my wonderful cigar today. So yeah, if you want to check that out, look at that sucker right there. Super awesome. Good knife. We got Ben that says, what's up, friends? Ben's and Robert and Ben both are some of our TriStar family. And then for his second or third week in a row of joining us, Mr. Lou Cross says, good evening, gents.
Here's my
and if y'all don't know Lou,
here's my Robert
if y'all don't know Lou Cross, there you go. If y'all don't know who Lou Cross is, you should. He owns Lure Cigars. Go check them out. Some fantastic, awesome cigars.
Hell yeah!
So, how is it that you two met? It sounds like I'm asking y'all. You know, when y'all got married, how'd you two meet?
Our dating story.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, your dating story. OnlyFans.
Only feet, my guy. Only feet.
Yeah. No. That came after. The icebreaker was OnlyFans. The feet was when, like, okay, we might have something here. Let's make some money.
True. No, we so it was 2020. No, it was actually 2019. It was like December 29th of 2019 or something like that. And I was at a place where financially we were hitting kind of a tough spot, and so I needed to make a little extra income. So I picked up a little side hustle and started delivering pizzas actually for Marco's Pizza, and Chad was the GM, and we were just working. I was delivering pizzas, and I was a cigar guy. He's kind of a whiskey guy, and so between orders, we'd sit there and chat about, have you tried this cigar with this thing? And he wasn't much of a cigar guy at the time, but I just kept bringing him stuff to try. And hey, try this cigar, you might like it. Hey, just go from there. But yeah, we started from working together. Yep.
Yeah, I think the first cigar you gave me was a Charter Oak Foundation,
Foundation Charter
and
Oak.
I remember,
Exactly right.
yeah, it was before I built that front porch, so I just had to kind of like walk up, like kind of, I wouldn't even call it a deck, just a little staircase in the front of the house. And I remember it was one evening, I had my jacket or my hoodie on, and I went out there, and I'm like, okay, I don't get this whole cigar thing, and I don't get this whole pairing thing. So I had the cigar, and I did exactly what Tyler said, and just really inhaled the shit out of that thing. But no, I didn't. But I think I had monkey shoulder. I think is what it was. I think I had monkey shoulder is what I'm pretty sure. So I paired it, and I was like, oh my goodness, what in the world have I been missing? And that's when it kind of opened the door of, okay, good cigar is nice, a good whiskey is nice. You put them together, and it's wow.
Yeah, we did monkey shoulder on the podcast too. We paired that well. I don't remember if it was Charter Oak, but yeah, I remember we paired it well.
So, give us a little bit of insight on the conspiracy theory stuff. Like, I've listened to some of your stuff. I want to know. I want to know a little bit about how you went down a rabbit hole with that, and I also want to know, like, has there ever been one where 2-3 years later you're like, "Fuck, I was wrong on this." I just need to know.
I'm just going to say that now that you're letting him jump into this, I don't know if we got enough time. This is going to be a long one.
We're not coming back from this. So, there have been a couple that like I'm going to entertain that. I'll go down the rabbit trail a little bit. I'll see what that's going on. And what I've found, there's some that like there are some that what they will do, and Charles, I will respect your time. I will not take all your time, but I will say that there are some that
No, I'm just playing. Go for it.
They will go. So the temptation of the conspiracy theory is to go scorched earth and to go so far that this is the whole world is in on it, and I am one of the 5 people left on the planet who don't know about this, and it's so big, it's so whatever, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is such a small kind of almost conspiracy that you kind of find yourself.
That's what she said.
After a while, you're so far deep in the weeds that you're looking around going, oh wait, there's like 3 people on the internet who think this is true. Okay, got it. I'm gonna back up a little bit, like take some stuff with a grain of salt. Like I've got a friend who thinks that all government, world government, every country's government, every local government, all government are like aliens from another country, planet, whatever, and it's all, everyone's an alien or everyone's a lizard or everyone's, and I'm like, okay, dial it back like 700 degrees.
What the fuck?
Like you're out there so far that you can't, nothing's real. And I'm like, dude, okay, I'm telling you what, the guy at Home Depot, he's not an alien trying to get you to convince yourself to like buy these machines or stop it. Like, get out of here. So there's these like, if you go far enough, you'll find people who another guy, and I'll give you one small example of where I've kind of like gone like, okay, you've lost your mind. But do you guys know Liquid Death? Like the sparkling water.
I drink them every day.
The story
All right.
behind that's awesome.
So I've got a buddy who believes that Liquid Death has satanic priests come
What the
into their
fuck?
warehouse every Friday and casts a spell on every can so that you're drinking satanically cursed beverages.
Well, duh. What else is it there for?
Well, duh. I mean, everyone knows that's 100%. So that's kind of the one where you're like, okay, let's slow down a little bit. Let's stop drinking so much poisonous bleach Kool-Aid that you're like you can't be relevant anymore. You know what I mean? People, they're still. So that's kind of one of those where you're like, okay, dial it down 10 notches and maybe we'll talk. So there's a couple of those.
Yeah, I had a buddy too that truly believed in the lizard people and aliens, and like nothing was real anymore. And I'm not saying there's not some crazy shit out there that I don't have an explanation for, but I'm not quite ready to go that far yet.
I'm not quite ready to pull that trigger just yet. You know what I mean?
No.
So and that's the thing is you're gonna get one person who then can convince 500 people that the Queen of England was a lizard. Her eyeballs blinked the different directions, and you're like, oh, okay, well, okay. If I want to go down that rabbit hole, I'm sure I'll find 25 other people who would go there with me. But I just, at some point, you go, listen, I'm exhausted. And there's a part of me that goes, I'm ready to see the good in humanity again. And the further you go down all these rabbit trails, you start to realize that there's no good in humanity anymore, and it gets exhausting. So I even if I'll admit, if the queen is a lizard person, great. I don't want to delve into that further. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go back to thinking that people are good, and that generosity is a real thing, and that people are trying to help the poor. And let's just go back to like people are okay. Like stop it. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I end up getting exhausted, get a little conspiracy fatigue, if you will.
Agreed.
Well,
Now,
our brother
you want
Rob,
to jump?
our
You
brother
want to jump down
Rob
the?
from our brother Rob from Louisiana says he's talking about your favorite president. Says Biden seems to be speaking in some kind of alien language most of the time, anyways. So
That is true. That is true.
and Ben says the Queen was a lizard, though.
Awesome.
I
Doesn't mean
guess.
I'm still gonna be buying my ammo and making my own farm a little here just to get my own cucumbers and tomatoes, and she can be a lizard queen over in that spot.
Hell yeah.
That's fine. You know what I mean?
So my other, so I had a couple questions and just trying to throw them at you here quick, but so I know Chad already touched on this, but Tyler, what was your gateway cigar? Like what got you into cigars? I know you told me kind of why you fell in love with them, and you know the being able to have that real conversations with people and what have you, but like what gateway cigar did you have, and you know, where did it go from there?
Swisher Sweet.
You dirty bastard. So I smoked a couple in my early 20s, and I liked the idea of cigars early on, but um, the first cigar that I remember smoking that I was like, wait a minute, I like this enough. I'm gonna figure out what it is. I'm gonna buy some more, and I'm gonna like learn this cigar. And it was actually, of all things, a Gurkha, but it was a Gurkha Ghost, I think is what it was. Gurkha Ghost or the Red Witch or something like that. And it was one that I was like, you know what, I could get into this whole thing. And so I think it was the Gurkha Ghost was my first. And then I started, like, I went to the cigar shop and was like, okay, give me 10 that I quote unquote must try. And then the cigar shop kind of led me from there.
I do remember a story that you was telling one time about when you used to want to teach people how to cut and light cigars. And there was a quote that you said that really meant a lot.
and spit on that thing. You get me?
So, I mean, I guess you can't hear the sounds that are coming in, can you?
I cannot. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The phone's
Well,
retarded.
let's just say that you enjoyed Hawk Tuin on it. I love you. I love you, man.
Hawk Tua. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing.
My first cigar ever. We went to the cigar shop. We graduated high school. A buddy of mine said, "Let's go get cigars." I was like, "I have no idea what that is, and I don't know how to do that." I had smoked cigarettes.
Let's preface
in high
this.
school.
I was about to say, let's preface this for YouTube. This was when the legal smoking age was younger than it is now.
True. That's true. It was 18.
Yeah, when I was 12, right? The 1700s, 1800s.
Yeah. I'm not that old. Dick.
Shiitake.
So I went to the cigar shop. We just graduated, and we went to the front desk guy, and we're like, "All right, give us the biggest, darkest, most phallic thing you can give
That's
us.
what she
Like,
said.
give us a big old black cigar." And he's
That's
like,
what
"Oh, I
she
got
said.
you right here. I think it was an Onyx or something." And we bought them, and we went back to the house, and I didn't even know you needed to cut them. I didn't know how this thing worked. I just remembered old John Wayne movies where you just bit off the tip and put.
That's what
And
she
I didn't know
said.
how to light it. We didn't know anything about it. So he lights it for me, and then he goes, "All you got to do, bud, is just go ahead and take the biggest inhale, fill the lungs, man, and you'll love it. You'll get right into it, and you'll love it." And I was like, "All right, dope. Let's do that." So I just full inhale, just all over the truck. I spewed all over the side of the fence. I spewed.
Oh my gosh.
I was green for 3 days, my guy. I was sick. I was so sick. I couldn't eat anything. It was the worst
Emotional damage.
ever again. And so about 5 years later, a buddy of mine brought cigars to a camping trip, and I started getting the hot sweats, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. I didn't even smoke the thing, and I was still like, oh God, and I got it lit, and I figured out if I can smoke the cigar and take a sip of Mountain Dew at the same time, I could get this down and get it done. It wasn't comfortable, but I got it done. But
That's what she said.
then the next time I was like, okay, so if I just keep drinking Mountain Dew and smoking cigars, I can get this thing done.
So you were chasing cigars with Mountain Dew?
Yeah. Whatever was sugar.
Nice.
That's the thing. When you inhale or when you even smoke too quickly and you start feeling all queasy, your body is saying, "I need a little sugar here." You're having you're dropping your blood sugar. So what you need a little bit of sugar. A lot of people will do a whiskey. They'll do a Sprite. They'll do something Dr Pepper, and they'll give it a little bit of that sugar, and it kind of diffuses the stomach acid. So that's what I started doing from an early age. And I did not realize that I was doing that. I just was like, oh, Mountain Dew, cigars, dope.
Well, once again, for everybody, we got a lot of new people that's jumped on, started watching. We have tonight with us Tyler and Chad with the Honest Cigar Experience podcast. So if anybody's got any questions for them, post them in the comments, or if you just want to say something, post them in the comments. But Mick, I know that you'll remember this name. We have the one and only Duchosaurus Rex with us again tonight.
Possibly the best name on Instagram. I will say there's one that kind of I don't know which one's the top. It was a Truck Stop Titty Twister. That might have been our best follower name besides Duchosaurus Rex. I don't know. It's a toss up, man. It's between both of them for sure. But welcome back, brother.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, those would probably be two of the best names that I've seen on Instagram in a long time. So you are at a little over 200 episodes right now, currently, right?
Yeah.
So you are sponsored by one of the best manufacturers in the cigar game.
Correct. Yeah, we have had
Who's
a
your sponsor?
blessed time being sponsored by Crown Heads Cigars, and so I've been a friend. I've been a fan of Crown Heads for, I mean, going on 15 years. We've been doing the podcast for about 5, but Crown Heads is out of Nashville, so I've been a follower and a friend and a fan. And then it just so happened that episode 50 was coming up. I reached out to John Huber and said, "Hey man, I'd give anything to come and interview you if we can, and have you on the podcast." And he said, "I'd love to do it. When do you podcast?" I was like, "Oh, I'm thinking like Friday night, man, something like Friday night, 8 p.m." He's like, "No go. After 5 p.m. on a Friday night, man, I'm no longer Mr. Crownheads. I'm with my family and I'm with my wife, and so if you want to do this, it's fine. I'd love to. You got to come to my office, or we got to do something Monday through Friday during the work day." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm taking a long lunch break, and we're gonna come interview you during like Tuesday at noon." And so Chad and I figured out our schedules, and we went up there and got a chance to interview John Huber, and then he's been on every 50. So episode 50, 100, 150, and then this 200. We've been over at the Crown Head Studio.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
Huge
that's what I was
thanks to
about
Crown
to.
Heads.
That yeah, I'm a huge fan as well, and we've had long conversations about different projects that Crown Heads have put out. And I have a friend that happens to own a cigar lounge, and I'm not saying which one, but there was a sales rep for Crown Heads in there and gave him the new bull. And
Oh,
the
Belgian bull?
yeah,
Belgian
the guy,
blue.
yeah, the Belgian bull, yeah, the blue. And when we were getting ready to leave the lounge, he came over to me, and it was right before my birthday, and he gave me a hug and said, "Here, take this with you." And I said, "What is this?" He's like, "It's the sample cigar that I got. I know how big of a fan you are, so I would rather you smoke it than me smoke it." So I've got it in my humidor, and I will crack that thing open probably this weekend sometime.
Dude,
It's a
text me
treat.
when you do. I want your thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. So y'all were leading me. Y'all just brought me into what I was going to ask next, or talk about next. Was, it's become a tradition with you guys that on every 50th episode, John jumps on with you guys, which I think is completely awesome. Love that idea. What is an experience that when you guys either been talking to him or went over there to see him that sticks out in your mind? Like, wow, this was awesome.
Chad, I'll let you lead that one.
I'd say the fact that he shuts down the cigar world, like the business, and he focuses on family. That's huge, because we've had other people on, and other cigar company owners on, and they're working around the clock and everything, and and those that know him respect him for that. That was kind of the big thing. And then other than that, it's just getting to know him, kind of some of the stories, and kind of where he came from. I think it was the first one we had him on, and we were talking about his tattoos and his favorite tattoo and stuff like that. And just the little kind of getting to know him has always been interesting. But just the fact of being able to just shut everything off and focus on family, that impressed me quite a bit, and I think Tyler as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, he's mentioned a couple times that come 5 p.m. on a Friday, he's no longer the John Huber. He's a dad and a husband, and that's it. And so he even mentions he doesn't smoke much on the weekends. He's not he does his smoking for work. He does it during the work day, but once he goes home, he's not taking more time in the back porch with the more cigars. He's like, I'm here doing what I need to do as a family man. And so, dude, yeah, huge respect.
Yeah, I'll give anybody
that was one of the things that. Go ahead.
No,
I was just going to
I'll give
say
anybody.
that I do know that one of the things that that every interview that I've heard him talk about, that's one thing that he talks about a lot is that he made sure that the moment work is over, he clicks and he's family. He's going to go into family mode, and no, he's not going to worry about his cigars. He gets enough smoking cigars at home. He's not going to worry about any of that. He's going to go home and be husband and dad.
To answer the question, I would say probably one of the best. So we had interviewed him for episode 50, and then we were back to episode I think it was episode 100, and we had just lost our sponsor at that point. We had a different sponsor, and I just was just like, man, what would be the coolest is if Crown Heads would sponsor our podcast. And so at the end of that episode 100, I said, we'd cut for the time, and we're having an honest discussion. And I said, hey man, what would it take for you to sponsor the podcast? And he's like, well, we're not gonna like buy advertising space. And I was like, no, I'm not looking for that. But like, a cigar or two or something like that, like just a cigar a month or something like that or whatever. And he's like, oh man, so yeah, if we could just trade with, we'll be your happy to be your sponsor, but maybe we send you like a cigar box or something like that. And I'm like, oh dude, over the moon. Like that we would be way over the moon for that. And he was like, dude, happy to do it, man. Just let me know what you need. And so there have been some, I mean, every time we go in there, he's like, dude, I'm so happy to sponsor you. You guys are great. You guys are asking questions that most podcasts aren't asking, because we'd go in there and we'd just be like, how's your soul, man? How you doing? And he's, what's going on in your life? What's something you're learning right now? And he's like, nobody asks this stuff. Nobody checks in on my soul. Nobody checks in on how's my heart, how's my marriage. He's like, you don't even know my wife, and yet you've asked me more through text about how's my family doing, how's my marriage doing. You mentioned you're praying for me. Like nobody does that, man. And so he's been incredibly kind to just be like, man, we got you. So yeah, huge thanks to Crown Heads, not just for the sponsorship, but dude, he's bore his soul to us, and some of that stuff's been off the air, and we leave that off the air, and we don't put it on the air, but just to, I would say, what's the experience? The experience is a guy who I would consider a hero in the cigar world, being a regular dude who just says, man, I'm going through it, man. I'm my soul's tired. I could use some energy, and so it's just to call the guy a friend has been, dude, life changing. It's been good for me that guy would say, you're a friend of mine. You care for my soul, and I love that. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, I think that's what we love about you guys' podcast, man, is you do ask more in-depth things and like really family oriented. And I think anybody in the industry that really cares about their family, and has a lot of shit going on or whatever, I mean, they can relate to all of that. It's just it's fucking awesome, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Charles, you drinking anything over there? You sipping on something delightful this evening?
I am not. Where I have so many buttons that I have to push and I have to produce the show from this end. If I was drinking and having to do that, we would all be in trouble tonight. So,
just
that's where the fun's at.
Just a short story there. I feel bad every week because he isn't drinking with us, and I'm usually half lit by the end of the show. That being said, next week, it's a guest that I had asked to be on, and he's like, "This one's all you, and I'm going to drink." So next week could get fucking interesting.
That's awesome. I'll chime in. I'll
see what the bad part about that is. I may not be asking the questions, but I still have to produce the show. So I still have the buttons I have to produce. So it could really get interesting.
I think it'll be perfect.
So
it'll be great.
What are some of the most memorable episodes that you guys have had together? You've had over 200 of them. So whether it's been something that's pulled at your heartstrings, or something that you celebrated, or an episode that just came out of nowhere that you're like, holy crap, this was great. What's each one of yours couple favorite episodes?
Chad, I'll let you start.
Yeah, well, thanks. And that's a tough one. I mean, there's definitely been some, well, I think when we did some like theme type conversations that turned out really good, like around holidays, and we did some just different topics that we went through, but all of them in some form or fashion have been incredible, because even if we try to plan it out, we might have a couple ideas or whatever, or Tyler have a couple ideas. I'm usually blindsided, but right. And it's funny because every time we sit down, we start talking, it's like we're both going through almost the same thing in different aspects, but the same thing. So like you said earlier, like every episode is almost like therapy. So there's always something coming out of every single one. Even when we have nothing and we're like, what are we doing? I don't know. It still ends up turning out, something positive. But some of the theme ones, I know we did the one on like anxiety and stuff like that. Like we did like a like a series that was really good. But yeah, I don't know if I can really pick one, because they're all so different, yet they all end up being really good, at least on our end. I mean, listening wise, on the other end, it might be like, okay, that sounded like a bunch of knuckleheads or whatever that made no sense, but we definitely get something out of it.
Yeah. So episodes 71 and 72 are kind of, they reign in infamy for us. That was the first time we brought in conspiracies to the show a little bit. So I just went through like, what are the top 100 best conspiracies, and I picked like 35 or so, and it was a double episode, and we just went through like, all right, what do you think about weather manipulation? What do you think about JFK? And so my question was to Chad, what are your thoughts on JFK was assassinated by the CIA? And he was like, I believe it or I don't believe it. So he kind of was like thumbs up, thumbs down. And so we had a lot of fun with that one. We did a series where it was it was basically, I was going through a time in my life where I was going through, quote unquote, my heart, and all of the skeletons that I had not yet dealt with. And so it was like, all right, Tyler's red flag here. Let's talk about narcissism. Let's talk about porn addiction. Let's talk about being an idiot. Let's talk about being a verbally abusive husband and what that looks like. So it was basically me just cleaning house on the episodes. And it was like a whole month of us just going through like, what's Tyler's piece of shit thing here? And so we had fun with that. It was very vulnerable, but it was awesome. We had another series where we went through, I think it was I don't remember what year, but it was like a whole December where we kind of went deep into some theology and what Christmas is about and Jesus. And so that's kind of the other thing that we haven't really talked about on this podcast much, is that Chad and I are both born again Christians. So though we swear we've got tattoos, we smoke cigars and drink whiskey, we've got a full faith. And so some of us, sometimes we're like, I'm wrestling with my faith and my language. I cuss like a sailor, and my kids on the podcast have called me out on like, hey dad, maybe you don't do that anymore. And I'm like, oh gosh. So I'm wrestling with some of this stuff. And so I think that the episodes where we went through some of Tyler's red flags, that was a really good one, because again, I got to just kind of expose myself and kind of clean up my own awful humanity. Um, we've had my wife on, who is, in my opinion, one of the best humans on the planet. But we've talked about our marriage. We've talked about some places where I was wrong. We've talked about places she was wrong. We've had some of those conversations of what it means to uh, uh, work through conflict in a marriage. Um, we've just had some episodes where just both of us are dealing with, like, I've had a week and I'm freaking exhausted and I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, just recently, I left my company and I got fired from a company in the last 6 months. So we've had some honest conversations about what does it mean to start over and to not know where you're going, and so we've had a lot of that. So with Chad, I can't really pinpoint it, but I would say that the Red Flag series was awesome. The Christmas series, we've had a couple of Christmas series, was pretty great. Conspiracy stuff was pretty fun. I had a whole month where I laid out my whole thoughts on JFK, what happened, why it happened, who it happened to, all of that stuff. So that took a whole month of episodes, which was fun too. So, um, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question either, but we've had some doozies for sure.
Yeah, man, that's phenomenal. I mean, opening up like that in a podcast isn't easy, but it's also I think it's what makes you guys, man. It really does. And I gotta just say, I could not be more like probably both of you. I don't know Chad as well as Tyler, but man, just from what you just said, that's pretty much my life in a nutshell. And it's phenomenal that you guys open up like that. I also got to say, one of my so in we're already booked out like till January of next year with people we want to have on the show and whatever. And one that I'm probably looking forward to most, a psychologist from my work, a female psychologist who's become a very close friend of mine, is pretty much going to come on and do a thing on men's mental health and what have you, and like her background, and kind of psychoanalyze me and Charles. So I am so fucking looking forward to that. Maybe a little bit scared at the same time, but I am so looking forward to that episode.
I'm terrified. I am absolutely terrified.
I will be front row center on that one. I'm excited for that. That's fantastic.
So I will say real quick that I ended up meeting both of you when we first the original cigar club that we were in together. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And you guys were not too far along into the podcast, but it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I'm not a real big podcast person. Don't listen to them much, and definitely don't subscribe to any. But I'll give these guys a chance. So, it was one of those things where I was taking my kids to school every morning, and the days that you guys put out your podcast, this was when they were all real young. So we've got a decently long drive to school, and so they're snoozing in the back of the car. And so while they're snoozing on the way to school, I got my earbuds in and I start listening. And this was when the podcast was, I would say it was a good 70% religion. And I realized after about 2 episodes, I was struggling and I needed that. And I think I sent you guys messages a few times, even when we just really didn't know each other, and said, I needed to hear what you said. And I tuned in and stayed tuned in because my soul was needing that. I was needing to hear what you guys were saying, because it was everything I was thinking, but I needed, just like it's always like the kids, like your own kids, you can tell them all day long, but until somebody else tells them what they need to be doing, they don't pay attention to it. And I was telling myself all this time that I needed to be doing something, and it was some of the things that you guys were talking about, it clicked, and it's like, yeah, okay, I need to make a change. So that's how I got started with you guys.
Yeah.
It was you, I guess, around episode 100 or so, you guys started to do a Patreon, and it was like, yeah, okay, I got this one. And
yeah,
I jumped on. I've been a Patreon on your guys' podcast ever since, and I don't see me leaving it. I've listened to I've gone back to listen to all the episodes, and I will go 2 or 3 weeks where I just don't have time to listen. And just like, I guess it was Monday, I had a lot of stuff I had to do on the computer. So I binge listened to the last 2 or 3. And I still get a kick out of when I get something said about me on there, or some little comment that, Tyler will drop a phrase and he'll go, "Sorry, Charles." And it's like, gotcha, thanks.
So what phrase that would be?
Either that, or he is, Chad's in the process of seeing if Tyler can, take me out or something.
Yeah. We refer to Charles as the assassin on our podcast quite a bit. It's pretty funny.
Hey, I'm just saying. I tried to get Chuck Norris to meet me up, but he never did show up. I waited. So that just lets you know.
All right. Yeah, I hear you.
So let me. This is completely off subject, but I gotta say it. Welcome to Memphis. Across the pond in my gated community, there's a family that sets off fireworks on their fucking deck every night. Not sure how it hasn't caught fire yet, because literally the fireworks are meant for big open space. They're setting them off in a under deck, like it's roofed in deck on their porch every night. So if that happens again, just be prepared for me to mute myself and point at that direction, because it's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever seen. So just letting you know, it just happened.
They're kind of used to that because they have their own little guest that shows up, quite often. And it happens to be a truck that just decides to have no muffler or whatever, that just sits there and revs an engine.
Dude, we've got these country bumpkins that live across the street. At 5 a.m, they'll rev up and it shakes the windows. It rattles the house. It's
Rainbow truck.
Dude, I'll tell
Rainbow
you what.
truck.
Oh yeah.
Truck. And it's called Rainbow Truck because it's lifted. It's got lights underneath. It's the most obnoxious 18-year-old who thinks he can just put it all on the credit card, and he has decked out his truck, but it is obnoxious. It's the worst thing ever. But as of late, probably the last 6 months or even more, all of our episodes have been over at Chad's house. Praise the freaking Lord, because it's been exhausting. Anyway.
All right, so we probably got about.
They light their fireworks off of a roofed deck.
You're on mute, man.
If you can see, there's a roof on that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on my deck. Yeah, they light them off on their front.
Like yours.
Yeah, and their kids stand in front of the door and watch them. The dad lights them, runs back in the house, and they all stand there and watch them under the roof deck. And they're pretty big fucking fireworks. Every night. Me and the wife are like, what? It's gonna catch fire one of these days. We're gonna have a front row seat to some craziness, which I don't want. Trust me, but I'm just saying it's gonna happen. It's just insane.
Is his name Jeb? Jeb and Donna?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Could be. The John Deere in the parking lot.
That's
driveway.
fantastic.
Oh.
All right, so we've got probably 12 to 13 minutes left with you. I'm trying to be respectful of your time because you guys know that we can be on here for a long time talking, and we've done that before. So, you've had.
We're here for you.
You've had quite a few good, fun, interesting guests back on, throughout the time. Who are some of your favorites? I can tell you mine. You already know who my favorite was, and I'm going to download his sound clip to the board over here, and we're going to use it someday. But who are some? You can't pick John. We know John is a rock star. Can't pick him. But each one of you give who your favorite guest was. It could be cigar industry, whiskey industry, a friend, a family member. Set that up for us. Who was your favorite and why was it your favorite? By the way, Chad, this is where Tyler gets quiet and says, Chad, you go first.
Chad,
right?
you go
That's
first.
usually how it goes. Man, they're all so good in different ways. I would say it can't be John because of 2 points or 2 pieces of a conversation. I would say, and it's probably the same as yours, Charles, would be Matt Booth, and that's one because of his
Hell yeah.
personal greeting, the personal greeting that he said for you right on the episode. And the second part was that he agreed, well, we'll see if we meet up, that we were going to give each other tattoos. So I thought that'd be kind of cool.
That's right.
I think, what did he do, Tyler? Was it a heart? He like tattooed a heart on somebody?
Yeah, I heart bombed.
It probably looked like a jelly bean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Matt Booth was.
Wasn't it Guy Fieri that he tattooed?
Yep. Yep. They tattooed each other, I think.
Yeah, I do believe so. I think it's what it was.
I need to go back and listen to that episode. That was a good one. Matt Booth is top 3 for sure. He was just so entertaining, and he is it's funny, he is an intellectual guy. He is stupid up in his brain. He is a mental thinker, ethereal guy. He is top shelf. But so the stuff that comes out of his mouth is just like, who the hell talks like that? Who thinks like that? Like, anyway, just brilliant. It was super fun. I would probably, if I could have, of our guests, who is the immediate, not John Huber, but who else would you want to have back on the podcast? Pete Johnson, without question or hesitation. Pete Johnson was, it was as if we'd been friends for 15 years, and he was just sitting in my back porch going, man, just let's just enjoy our time together, man. Like, no expectations, no awkward, weird, like, I'm freaking Pete Johnson. You need to bow down to me, bitch. Like, he was as personable as I'd ever expected. And then we once we were done recording, we then went on for another hour after the episode was over, just talking about real life and BS. And like, he talked about how he met his wife, and so his wife is the daughter of my father, and so he's like into the family there. But he just talked about some real life.
His wife is your dad's daughter?
Yeah, I guess it does sound kind of weird saying it out that way. Yeah. My father factory, the daughter who is responsible for like La Duena, is Pete Johnson's wife. Okay. Thank you.
We got you. Just messing with you. Just messing with you.
So Pete was just stupid honest, and I still text him from time to time. Just, man, how are you? How's your soul? Anything going on lately that you need prayer for, whatever? And he's like, dude, like, nobody asks those questions. Anyway, Pete Johnson for sure. Nick Melilla was also really great. But I would probably say the celebrity or the guest that we had on that was kind of a little bit different, but was great, was when we had Sin Coburn from Dissident Cigars. So we had her on for Dissident, but we also had her on for just being a human. And her dog had just died, and like, we were just able to like shoot the breeze. And they live in Honduras, and we're just like, how's life? And we just had a really good, friendly conversation. And so again, we check in from them from time to time and just say, hey, how's your world? How are you and Josh? So Sin Coburn was probably one of my tops as well.
Yeah, we're hoping to have her on soon, man. She, I know Charles has reached out, and I heard she's a great interview, and
Yeah.
just a lot of fun and a good human. So we're excited about that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dissonant makes an incredible cigar as well. I mean, but even Brian from Cavalier was on. Golly, like the more and more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is a hard question, man. We've had some killer people on. We had John Deloney on from who works at Dave Ramsey. He talked about anxiety. I mean, golly, that's a tough question. Really is. I would say if I had to have
All right,
one
so I'm
back on today, I would say Sin Coburn. Sin Coburn was probably one of the most honest and vulnerable conversations. It was awesome, real powerful.
she definitely does a great interview. We've had her on the TriStar Herf a couple of times. One time just for an interview, and then we were celebrating our 1 or 2 year anniversary. So for shits and giggles, everybody that we had interviewed, we sent them a link saying, "Hey, it's our birthday. Jump on." And soon as we signed on, she jumped right on it and hung out with us for about a good 45 minutes and just talked about random shit. And so she's a real good one to have on and talk to. So I'll give you another one just as difficult to think about. You guys have a lot of segments that you've brought in and out throughout the times, everything from a religious one to, bizarre foods to conspiracies to just you name it. You've had some very weird conversations over weird topics. What are some of the segments that you guys do that it don't have to be whether it gets the most listens or the most likes or whatever, but it's the one that you enjoy doing the most?
That's a good
By the way,
question.
Chad, you can go first.
Go figure, right?
See, I'm learning. I got this down.
Yeah. I would say the bizarre flavors have been fun. It's pushed me kind of out of my comfort zone. Sometimes it's not that big of a deal, but we did the freeze dried durian fruit. We've done the one thing I was like, I'm never going to do, and we were literally in Tyler's garage recording, and he pulls out crickets, and I was like, I couldn't say no. We were already recording. We don't edit. We just go with it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like. Surprisingly, they weren't that bad, except for there's a little tickle in the throat where you're trying to get that leg or antenna or whatever it is to kind of like go down the back of the throat. But, yeah, right. And then the lists are fun too. Especially trying to guess kind of like the top 10 of something. Except for when we got to like TV shows because I failed that miserably. But yeah, the bizarre flavors was definitely a fun one.
Yeah, we've had some fun with those for sure. Just because I'm such a my brain is I actually had a friend from work that was like into like, okay, I'm finally ready to admit I think that the moon landing might have been fake. Tell me more about it. And I'm like, oh buddy, you don't even know. So I'm literally like cracking my knuckles like, here we go, bud. And so there was a point in time when I was at my previous company where I was doing like 3 and 4 lunches, 3 or 4 about 6 a month of like people who'd sit down and they're like, okay, man, JFK, walk me through it. And so the conspiracy things has just been kind of fun. Because some of them I know, but I want to dig deeper into. And so they kind of force me to get deeper. So that's always that one has actually, the conspiracy has been the one that we get the most feedback. Do more, keep going, keep get further down the rabbit trail, give us as much as you can. And so like we did a full month on JFK, and that was with regular episodes and Patreon episodes. We did like 7 episodes of that. All JFK, like not anything else, not whatever. It was all JFK. Which is again a lot of fun. The other one though that we get a lot of people are coming back around as of late, going, I'd love your spin on, like we did an episode on is smoking a sin? Is smoking cigars a sin? And so it became this like theology debate on what about smoking and what about convictions and what about, the Bible didn't talk about smoking so much, but it does talk about taking care of the temple. Are you ruining the temple? Like things like that. So we've had some people coming back around saying, hey, could you go back more down the religious rabbit trails? But I'd say for me, anything getting into the heavy conspiracy stuff was always, I mean, it's been the funnest one. I've been asked by a couple friends, hey, would you want to start a conspiracy podcast? And I'm like, that sounds awesome. If I had the time, I might consider it, but it's not taking place just because I'm stretched thin as it is.
I will say, Tyler, oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I will say, Tyler, we should talk offline sometime. I'm not going to say who, but someone with a very high security clearance that I know has a lot of facts on JFK that I've gotten a few out of when he was super drunk. So
sick.
It may be pretty cool. So I will get with you. There's a good cliffhanger for everybody, but you didn't get any of your information from me. I'm just saying.
I can't wait.
You're not suicidal.
Yeah.
Yes, you might want to say that one because,
Yep. That's why I left it at that. We're good.
Sorry, I had to jump off there for
So
a second.
I will.
Whenever Charles played that's what she said thing, it was on repeat for like a minute. I was like, I can't do this. I back out and go back in.
So I will say this: one of the podcast episodes that we want to do, and we had talked about, and we want to try to plan for sometime next year, is there are a few of our friends, our buddies that are big conspiracy people. You have Sean with Smokers Abbey in Memphis. You have Brian with Cavalier, and we got you guys. So we would love to do a conspiracy night to where we get everybody together on here and just start hashing out weird conspiracies and just see where it goes.
Yeah. I'm down.
So I think my final question for you is, go ahead.
The proverbial conspiracy theory. You look up the kind of the image of the conspiracy theorist, and there's this red yarn attaching every article, and everything kind of starts to attach itself. And so that's kind of the fun part. But you start opening up some of the, well, what about this? Let's take a broad one, take an easy one. All right, you've got the moon landing. And for sake of time, let's just say it was faked. Okay. Well, if it was faked, who faked it? Okay, well, then we go back to maybe the government didn't tell you all the story, and maybe the government lied to you. Okay, well, if the government lied to you, then what about this thing? And what about that thing? Okay, well, if the government did that. And so then you start to unfold this. It just starts to kind of like unfold on itself, and you're like, golly, like, I can't trust anybody. And so that's where it starts is, well, if I can't trust anybody, then what else am I trusting that I maybe need to question? And so then you start losing, like, holy shit, where am I going with this? And so it can get fun. It can also, the sad thing, and I'll end with this, but what it starts to do is it starts to eat at your humanity, going, oh, they're all messed up. And I need to admit that maybe those who I think are good may not be so good. And it starts to prepare yourself to kind of, humanity starts to look real dark real quick. So if you're not ready to go there, don't go down the rabbit trails unless you're willing to go there. So, all right, I'm done. Go ahead, Charles.
All right, so I think my last question for you is, because I could keep asking you all kinds of stuff just from knowing you guys and listening to you guys for so long. But I guess my last question is going to be: you just got done doing episode 200. You're already working towards 250. So for the next 50 episodes, what do you guys want to see happening? What do you guys want for the future? I mean, I know we've talked about some different ideas, before, but what is it you guys are wanting to branch into, bring back, or start?
I think I'll go first. Why not?
I think Chad should.
Hey, Chad, you go first.
Good idea. I think I'll go first. We've definitely tossed some ideas around. I think there will, without giving too much out, I think there will be changes. What that looks like, that'll be to be determined. We from the beginning, we always decided we were going to do this, as long as we're getting something out of it or somebody else is getting something out of it, we'd continue to do it and, have fun with it. So, we've got some ideas, at what extent that looks like. We're still kind of tossing that around, but the moment that it becomes, I'd say, a chore or just something to fill space, I think that would be the time to wrap it up. Or the moment that it's not really benefiting anybody, then it kind of like, what's the point at that point? It's like, okay, we had a good run or whatever. So, but anyway, as long as we're hitting one of those check marks, in some form or fashion, it's worth it. So, but again, depending on what we decide to do and what that format looks like, or what any of that looks like, that's still in the works, and we're actually in discussion offline regarding that, as we speak. So,
yeah, I think that there have been some episodes that have been real. Oh gosh, man, it's been like, I got to get that off my chest, man. It's funny because half of the conversations honestly have been like, hey Chad, why don't you and I just, we need to, dude, I've had a week, man. I need to get this off my chest. I need to cry, vent, bitch, moan, whatever it is. And we do that actually like after we hit record. We're like, okay, record and let it out. And it's like, I'm freaking exhausted. I'm angry. I'm so tired of this thing. And then it's like, oh, but I'm also learning, God provides when I don't know where the provision's coming from. I mean, we've talked at least recently about how I left my company and I've been in a job hunt and a couple things. And man, it's hard to go through this life when you're quote unquote like looking for work. I mean, it's the worst. It's the hardest season, I feel. And so some of it's just been literally, we're just hitting record and saying, okay, therapy, go. And what I'd love to get back to is I'd love to be able to be at a place where I feel like I'm giving out of surplus instead of like scraping the bottom of the barrel of my soul and being like, what can I give? What can I give right now? I feel like sometimes I'm a preacher on the verge of breakdown. Like, I'm just like, man, I don't know what I don't know what's going on in my life that anyone wants to hear about, let alone a positive sermon or message on getting through this thing. So I guess what I'd like over the next year is I'd love to be able to give out of surplus and not out of again, the bottom of the barrel of my soul. So I don't know what that looks like. I'll be candid. I don't know what that looks like. So right now, Chad and I are both kind of I don't want to say we're dry, but we're just trying to make it, man. We're just trying to get through this life and not have our children hate us. You know what I mean? That was honest, I guess.
Well, one thing I will say really quickly about that, your podcast is the Honest Cigar Experience. So you just gave yourself the next couple of podcasts if you wanted them, because getting on there and talking about that that part's being honest. And that's what drew me into you guys, was when you were like, shit, I've got nothing else to talk about, but this is what's going on. So, I mean, that it's definitely in the line of what you guys do and what you guys talk about. So, Mick, do you have any other questions, or do you want to jump into the next?
I was just gonna say I've not listened to all of your episodes like Charles has, but I will say that is what draws me to you guys, as not only a podcast but as people. I know I keep saying stuff like this, but like for real, that like keeping it honest and real is, I think, what makes you guys. And I feel like that's why me and Charles are having so much fun with it. I just love this community, and you continue to learn from it and become a better human in the end of it. Hopefully, is the ultimate goal, and meet great people along the way. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing, man.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Jordan, our guy from Cali, says, I wish I had a friend that I could talk about anything with. You guys are lucky to have each other. I'll get there one day. Well, brother, you're part of the TriStar group, and every Tuesday is therapy night. All you got to do is jump on there, and we're not excuse me again. We're not on there to just have a certain topic most of the time. We're on there to just talk about anything and everything. So, I mean, there's a whole club of people who are willing to sit there and talk. So you always have us. He said, gonna definitely check out the Honest podcast because of tonight. Well, there you go.
Appreciate that, man.
Our Rob from down south says, Jordan, that's what the cigar community is all about. You have plenty of people that will be there for you anytime you need. You just have to be willing to reach out. And Jordan responds back, that's why he loves the club. And that's 100%, what we're there for. And, I do my best to fill up time with topics and conversation and try to keep things going. But there's some of our guys on here that's on this podcast right now has used the HERF just to sit and talk. And we've sat and listened. And that's what we're there for. And that's what we enjoy. And I mean, whether you're male or female in the club, we're there. It's a family. It's a brother. It's a brotherhood. It's a sisterhood. That's what we're there for. So you just like Rob said, all you gotta do is reach out, brother. We're all here.
And I'll say as well, the HERF has been so our podcast has been good for us as well, but the HERF has been it's been other perspective of the people just saying, hey, man, we're with you. So we've Chad and I have both been at the absolute end of our rope and just jumping on the podcast or jumping on with the HERF and saying, listen, man, I've just had a week. If y'all could pray for me, if you could just let me vent for a second. But you guys have been, the best church I know around. It's been great. And it's not to say you got to be Christian. You don't got to be whatever. It's not a churchy group, but it's been community that has said, hey, we're with you. And so that's been huge for us. So
I've said it 1,000 times, man. TriStar has, I moved away from my family, my friends, to come down here for a job. And they've been my family since I moved away. And every Tuesday it gives me that outlet. And there's Charles will vouch. There's been a couple nights I jumped on there after some really rough shit at work and dealing with some stuff, man. And it's got me through it. And that's really what it's all about. We're all there for each other. Hopefully I'm there for people as well. And, we all are. That's what it's there for.
All right, Mick. So are you ready to jump into some hotbox questions?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right, real quick, let's do this. The hotbox section of this podcast is sponsored by TriStar HERF Crew. We just got done talking about them. If you got any questions or you're interested in a cigar club, we are a social cigar club that's very active on Instagram as well as in person. Check us out at tristarherfcrew.com as well as on Instagram at TriStarHERFCrew. So the way this works is we are going to ask 10 different questions. Hey, Chad, you go first. Mick has 5 that he's picked out. I've got 5 that I picked out. Mick starts it off and we just go through it. You don't have to put too much thought into it. You can give 1 or 2 word answers, or you can give a story behind it. I mean, Tyler. So
So is Chad answering my questions and Tyler's answering yours, or how's this working?
no, just go ahead and ask the question and let them both. Chad will go first, and Tyler will give his, and we'll just speed right through it.
Perfect.
Question number 1, go for it.
All right. What is your favorite sports team?
Depends on the sport. So football, it would definitely be Buffalo Bills, or college would be the Michigan Wolverines.
You said last time you liked Ohio.
You can.
We are Penn State.
Well, see, I'm from Pennsylvania, so that's the funny part. But no.
Tyler?
I'm not much of a sports guy. My dad is a 3rd-generation Denver Broncos fan, and so after 25 years of Christmases receiving Denver Broncos paraphernalia and gear, I'm a Broncos fan, but that's just because my steering wheel covers Denver Broncos. I have nothing to do with that. So.
All right, so question number 2.
I couldn't tell you one player right now of the Denver Broncos. I couldn't tell you one player. I have no idea.
So you're like 90% of the female fans for the Kansas City Swifties. They don't know anybody who's on the team, but they're fans. All right, so question number 2, and I'm doing something different on this one. When I ask the question, I want you to yell the first word that comes to mind. I don't want you to whisper it. I want you to yell it. Are you ready? What's your favorite cuss word?
Shit. Shit.
I must say, yeah. Shit.
I figured it was going to be, damn it, Donna.
Love it. All right. Aisle seat or window seat?
Window.
I'm an aisle guy. I like the aisle.
Okay. You guys would travel well together.
We get that a lot.
Who gets the middle seat?
That's what she said.
Hell yeah.
What's your favorite joke?
I don't know. Hi, my name's Tyler.
Okay, mine is slightly inappropriate, but it's a goodie.
Oh, here we go.
Well, it's a good one. Let's do it.
Okay, all right. So, family walks into a restaurant. It's a brand new restaurant, high tech, modern restaurant, and the father looking around the room, and he's like, "Okay, this is cool. I like it." And they sit down, and he notices that every waiter has a spoon in his pocket. He's like, "That's weird. What in the heck?" So he calls the waiter over. He says, "Okay, I'm confused. Sir, why does everybody have the spoon in their pocket?" And he goes, "Well, as a restaurant, we want to make sure we're high tech. We're also speedy. We're also, very efficient. And so we did a massive study, found out that the most commonly dropped utensil is the spoon. And so if you drop a spoon, I can just give you my spoon, and again, I don't have to go back to the station. I can just give it to you right out of my pocket." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's brilliant, Dad. That's really smart." Okay, cool. So he's looking at his menu. He's looking at things. He starts looking around again, and he notices that all the male waiters have a spoon a string coming out of their zipper. It's like, what in the world is going on? Every male waiter's got a spoon coming, or a string coming out of their zipper. Calls the waiter over. He goes, what's going on with that?" And he goes, "Well, again, we did a survey. We were trying to be efficient, and so when every male waiter goes to the restroom, they just pull on the strings, unzip and pull on the string. The string is tied around their manhood, and they pull their manhood out. They can go to the restroom, and then they don't have to wash their hands. It's super efficient, makes everything faster." Golly, that is amazing. That's so smart. Okay, well, if you pull it to come out, how do you put your manhood back in? He goes, well, you just use the spoon.
I bet the soup tastes nice.
The soup
Oh,
great.
I love it. I love it.
My
That is
uncle
great.
told me. My uncle told me that, and that's exactly the joke an uncle should tell.
And this will make you laugh even more. The next question is cereal a soup? You need a spoon. You need a spoon for that. So
You definitely need a spoon. I think we actually had this conversation. Is hot dog a sandwich? Is soup? Is cereal a spoon or cereal a soup? Yeah, we've had a couple of those. I say yes. I say yes. It's liquid
I
based.
say yes.
You eat
I say
it.
yes to 100%.
I say you're all
Breakfast
weird.
soup.
You're weird. I'm about
So
to
you
hit
say
some
no?
spotty. I'm about to hit some spotty service. So if I lose you guys, that's what happened. But no, it is not a soup.
Ah,
All right, question number 6. If you could switch lives with any fictional character, who would it be and why?
Oh,
Jack Bauer, because he's the GOAT. Easy.
yeah, that's the question. Do I get the powers to go with it?
Yes, you sure do.
wait till question 7. But go ahead.
Okay, this is weird, but I think it would be the most amazing power in life, whatever. But Professor X, to be able to mentally tell everyone in the world to like be a better driver. Golly, that's all I don't even need all the other mental stuff. Just be a better freaking driver, bro. Stop it. Use your gosh dang blinker light and stop drive. That's it. If I could be Professor X and manipulate people mentally to be a better driver, happy day.
Phenomenal. Yes, and in Memphis, that would be a phenomenal thing for real. I'm sure it's bad in a lot of places, but holy mother of God! All right, so what superpower would you want and why? And there you go.
Yep.
I think we just
Chad.
did this one too, and I know we kind of bounced around, but man, I don't remember what I said originally, but we ended up talking and stuff. But what did we say? Like teleporting, being able to teleport anywhere.
We've heard that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ability to just quote unquote like blip. I'm going to Paris. I'll be right back. I'm grabbing a couple baguettes and a couple like if I could just like instantly like teleport and then teleport back all day. That I think that the ability to be Professor X and like tell people to be a better driver, that's one thing. But if I had to have overall control, if I could just blip to wherever, I could be the ultimate assassin. Like, hey, Mr. President, who do you need taken out? Oh, Osama bin Laden? Cool. I'm gonna blip while he's taking a crap, and I'm gonna just snipe his brain real quick, and I'll be right, like, bam. Like, that would be BA. That would be badass in every way.
I already
Brother,
took care of that.
Brother, I have a weird sense of humor, but the baguettes line might be my favorite line of the night. Like that is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think weird things. Yeah, good question.
Question number 8. What special skill or talent do you have that most people don't know about? And leave this off of your OnlyFans.
I plead the fifth.
Chad's got a third nipple.
True story.
Yes. This is why we do this.
So good. Oh, it's so good. I don't know what special powers that brings you, but you know. Okay, so I don't.
What special skill or talent do you have?
special skill or talent. We've joked about this from time to time for the podcast, but I literally do speak for a living, and we've had some of the greatest conversations that just literally ad lib out of our brains. And so, Mick, like you mentioned, like random comments with go grab some baguettes, whatever. My brain is on a constant I feel like I've got all the Mad Libs in the world going on in my brain, and so I just have these random facts and statements and whatever. My family, we crack up so much. My wife about peed her pants the other day, just because these random things that just come out of her brain, and she's like, "Who thinks like you?" So, not to quote unquote toot my own horn, but my ability to kind of randomly throw shit out of my mouth is a pretty good skill. That's one that's served me well.
We love you for it, man. It's good stuff. The baguettes comment.
Well, just ask Mick sometime about my flavor notes on cigars. He likes those.
Jesus.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So, yeah, we won't go deep
What is that?
into it.
Tires and cooking oil.
Oh yeah, that was fucking phenomenal. That was the best line of that night for sure. That dude's palate's ridiculous though. It pisses me off from time to time. I think I'm pretty good until I smoke a cigar with him every fucking week. But all right, here we go. So this is my favorite question tonight. This is a great one. Would you rather accidentally send a nude to your mom or your boss? Chad, you're up.
Have fun with that.
Did we miraculously lose Chad?
Well, he did say he was possibly going to go through a
No,
bad area.
It's
I think he's trying to weigh the
going in
options.
and out on my end.
I will give you. I'll give you a little bit of help here.
Can you hear me?
I'll give you a little bit of. Yeah, I got you, man. I'll give you a little bit of help here, though, and this may or may not help you. My mom's like 90, so I always said she'd never know how to open it, so I would absolutely send it to my mom. But that's just my thought process. But yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
It's funny. Do we lose Chad, or is he just in that tough spot? Since I'm unemployed, I don't have a boss, so send it to my boss. That sounds like a great idea. I'm not. Yeah, no, send it to my boss. That sounds like a great idea. At
Okay.
this point in time,
All right.
it's the Lord in heaven. So nothing he ain't seen before.
That's right.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so question one more time. You said if you
Would you rather accidentally send a nude to your mom or your boss?
accidentally send a nude to your mom or your boss, I'm gonna say it's definitely gotta be boss because I'm not from Alabama and I'm not into that weird whatever they do. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that answer.
Okay.
All right. So final question of the night, and this is my favorite one. We saved our favorites to the last. What is the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
Oof.
That is definitely hard. But I will say, just on the topic of what we do, be honest. Be honest. Just in conversation, be honest. How you feel. Just be real.
Love it.
See, now this is why this is my favorite. We end the night on a good one.
Damn it, Charles. So
Yeah, brother.
as I had a conversation, actually, ironically, over a cigar, with one of my dearest brothers, and I was going through a season, and the part of that season was I just didn't know. Uh, I just didn't know how to behave. I didn't know how to act. I was trying to figure my life out as a teenager who's just become a Christian. I swore like a sailor, still do. But I was going through, like, I don't know how to not be an awful piece of shit human, and I'm trying to become a better human. And so I was just becoming a Christian. I was just starting to understand the Bible. And my buddy Mark, he said, "You know what, man? I'll tell you right now, life's not hard. Just do what you're told." And of course, he had a Bible in his hand, and of course, he gave me that Bible, and he just said, "Read your Bible. That's God's message to you. Life's not hard. Just do what you're told." So I started reading my Bible, and when it said things, I started going like, "Oh, maybe I should try doing that or not doing that." And so, though there are moments that I still, again, my language is something that I do actually try to work on, despite how much I don't work on it. I do try to work on it. I do try to work on my behavior. I do try to work on my character, my work ethic, those things. But man, life's not hard. Just do what you're told. Okay, I will.
Love it.
So, ending on that note, go ahead and let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, where they can find your podcast, where they can find you on Instagram, any of your socials, anything that you want anybody who's listening today, because you've obviously reached out and touched one of our brothers on here who is now wanting to subscribe and listen to you. So let everybody else know how they can get a hold of you.
Man, we're on Spotify, Google Play. We're on podcasts. We're on all the iHeart. We don't have a ton on YouTube just because most of our podcast is all audio. So we didn't go the visual route. But Spotify. So the Honest Cigar Experience is what is our name. Um, the Honest Cigar Experience on Instagram. That's our primary there. Um, so there's my personal is the Cigar Experience TN. That's my cigar page. There's also the Honest Cigar Experience, and that's on a different technical page. That's the podcast page. And then Chad, I think yours is STY_HNST. So stay honest. That's his Instagram. Yeah, but we're on all the platforms, all the major platforms there.
Man, we appreciate you guys being on, man. It's truly an honor. We don't ever, like we said from the start, man. There's no competition between podcasts or anything. We're all brothers, and we appreciate having you on, and we appreciate what you do for the community. We continue to say cigar community, but really it becomes a brotherhood. It becomes family, and that's really where we're at, man. And we appreciate everything you guys do, and just jumping on with us, man. It's I truly think it's some of our best content to date, and we appreciate you guys.
Dude, man, this has been good for me. Chad hated it, but I thought this was great.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
Well, I mean, what else do you expect from an what else do you expect from an Ohio fan? I mean,
true.
I do have my issues with that, but yeah, here we are. It is what it is.
Well,
we had one episode on
before we let you guys gloat.
We had one episode on where we had a friend of mine who was going on a missions field, and she is an Ohio fan, and she was in person in our backyard, and Chad's on one side of the table and she's on the other side of the table, and we're talking, and I was like, "Oh, tell me more about yourself." She's like, "I'm an Ohio fan," and I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot these are like the biggest rivals ever," and they went after it for like 15 minutes. It was awesome. I had no idea that what was about to come, but that was early on. It was like season 1, I think. It's pretty great.
makes me so happy. Michigan's pretty terrible this year. So, but it is what it is. Penn State's going to lose this weekend probably. So we'll deal with that next week.
Well, I will say that the only bone that I have to pick with you guys is when I asked you what your favorite segments were, I didn't hear anything about whiskey, so I'm kind of hurt on that one. My heart just broke and sank. So nobody likes the whiskey content, so y'all can just go drink it.
Yeah, we do like the whiskey content. That has been really wonderful. I do apologize for you to bring that up. That has been wonderful content.
In our defense, Charles, that's your segment. we're just, you know. Plus, I didn't want to rub it in. Tyler's still butthurt over getting demolished. You know, he's like an Ohio State player over there, just getting beat down, and didn't want his feelings getting hurt more than they already were. So we figured we won't mention that.
Well, I'm just saying, Tyler still has 2 samples sitting at his house. So
got him right where I want him.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for jumping on here. And one thing I told you when we talked last time, and I'll offer it again. Anytime that you want to, since you guys jumped on ours, anytime that you want us to be on yours, we are more than happy to do it. Just set up a time, and we'll get together and we'll jump on the Honest Cigar Experience and cut up and have a great time. But I do want to thank you both for jumping on here. Love you both. I mean, you guys are some of my closest people, and I cannot thank you enough for being willing to do this.
That's been good.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a great night, and yeah, stay honest. That's exactly what I was about to say. Stay honest.
Yeah, much love, guys. We'll see you.
See ya.
Man, that was a boatload of fun.
That was a great time. I enjoy talking to these guys. I mean, we both know them. We've spent some time with them. I've spent some time personally with them, and they're some great guys. And the more you get to know them, the more you end up loving them. So,
yeah, I know you're a little closer than I am, but man, just an awesome show. Like those guys, they know what they're about, and they do their thing, and man, they're great together, and they really just fit in with what we're trying to do as well. So they're just phenomenal. Great evening.
Well, do you want to go over this cigar real quick?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's give them one more shout out. Let's just say, because I know they signed up to be a sponsor for one of the segments. Let's give them a second one. We're about to review the Foundation Wiseman Maduro, and we're going to say that this segment is brought to you by Beard Apothecary. Go check those guys out at beardapothecary.com. So I am completely interested because last night on the Herf, I kind of gave you some of my thoughts on this cigar, and just the look on your face was like, okay. So give us a rundown.
All right. So I love when you put me first, but it's all good, man. We'll see how many we match up on.
I think that's what we're going to do from here on out. You're always going to go first.
You're killing me. Fucking Mr. Pallet over there. All right. So pre-light, I got earthy, raisin, a little bit of hay, and some leather. First third, earth, express. Cocoa powder, black coffee, some bitter notes. Second third, I got dark fruits, maybe raisin, semi-sweet chocolate, earth, espresso, maybe a little caramel. Final third, I got espresso, dark chocolate, earthy, pepper, and this is a weird one for me, a little bit soapy. I don't even know if that makes sense or it's ever been used in a description of a cigar, but I got soapy in the final third. So I got pre-light experience, amazingly constructed cigar. I got a 14 out of 15. Flavor, I got 20 out of 25. Smoking characteristics, I got to give a little props here. It's windy as fuck here tonight. And the draw was great. The burn was actually amazing for how windy it is. And the smoke production was good, 24 out of 25. I got overall impression was good, 20 out of 25, and yes, I'd buy a box. A little earthy for me, but I'd probably still buy a box. I got a 28 out of 35. My overall was an 87.
Okay, nice. So let me add that into everything. All right, so again, I do all mine on a Cigar Public scale, so it's we rate ours a little bit differently. But I said on the pre-light on the body, I got chocolate, musty tobacco, and a barnyard funk. The foot, dried fruit, sweet but a little musty. Cold draw, plum, dark fruit, hints of chocolate. Firm. The draw was firm but not too tight. First third on the light, earth, black pepper, slight chocolate, good draw, nice smoke. Into the first, notes up front are lots of earth, oak, and black pepper, followed by a slight dark chocolate, almond, and a sweet cream. Retro is black pepper, oak, and espresso. Burn is razor sharp, lots of thick smoke, short finish. Strength is medium as well as the body. Nothing crazy and bold. Ash is holding throughout the third. Into the second, notes up front are lots of earth, coffee, and mineral, followed by an oak and slight cedar. Lots of black pepper and spice. The retro is a lot of the same earth, mineral, and black pepper with a slight salty pretzel note. At this point, I feel like it's missing something. It needs a sweet note to round things out. Burn is still fantastic. Ash dropped after the first third. Draw is okay, slightly snug. Smoke is full. Finish is medium. Strength has bounced up to a medium full, heading towards more of the full. Body is about the same. Final third brings a lot of the bitter notes, a lot of earth, a lot of charred oak, bitter coffee. Retro is charred oak, black pepper, and mineral. A little bit harsh on the bitter notes. Still needed something sweet to round things out. Burn is good. Ash is nice. Smoke is thinner and started to warm up and get a little hot. Strength is more full. So on construction, I gave it a 19 out of 20. Great construction. Draw is a little tight. I gave it a 13 out of 15. Burn, razor sharp, gave it 15 out of 15. Flavor complexity, it was a lot of the same notes. So I gave it a 17 out of 20. Flavor enjoyability, because I thought it needed something to round itself out, I gave it a 17 out of 20. Smoke output and texture. There was a lot of good thick smoke up front. It started getting a little more wispy towards the end. So I gave it a 4 out of 5. Overall experience, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Still thought it was missing something. Out of 100 points, I gave it an 88. So if you add ours together and average them, it comes out to an 87.5. So since we always round up when it's a 0.5, this one will go for an 88.
I don't think we've ever been as close on a cigar as this one.
No.
As always, you described better, but I was checking off notes as we went down through, and like literally like 15 out of my 17 notes I wrote down, you hit on yours. So yeah, it's definitely it's a solid cigar. I agree. I feel like it's missing a little something, but and it's a little earthy for me. But man, it's a foundation cigar. It's still a good stick.
100%, I agree. And Nick, don't be mad at us. You know, you can still send that hat. I mean, I will proudly wear my little foundation hat logo up here, but you know, you can still send that hat. Just saying. So final segment of the night. You got some story. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say too that honestly, we love foundation cigars like Tabernacle, Olmec, or some of our favorite cigars, and this one just didn't hit my wheelhouse for real. But we love foundation cigars. It's probably my second or third favorite brand, honestly, overall. So it's a great smoke. I'm not saying this one's terrible either. It's just not my wheelhouse. So.
Well, I mean, you said that it would definitely, even though it's more earthy than what you like, you would definitely buy a box of them. I would go buy more. I will buy more. I did enjoy this one. I do think that maybe with a little bit of age, it'll meld together a little bit. So I've got a couple in the humidor. I bought 4 or 5. So I got a couple in the humidor that I'm just going to sit back and let it go a little while longer and see if it mellows out a little bit. And I think that may be what it needs.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So you ready for some Meanwhile in Memphis to close us out for the night?
I sure am, and it's going to be a short one tonight. I don't know if you have any. That's what she said for me, but yeah. So, by the way, you were extremely quick on the buttons tonight, man. Like I have never heard you that quick on the buttons. Like it was fucking impressive tonight.
That's what she said.
So I had 2 stories lined up. One was on the wife's phone, which I grabbed earlier, but then we ran a little long with Chad and Tyler. So she came out and grabbed her phone and walked back in the house. So love the wife. She's right. It took me like 45 minutes when I said it would be like 5. So I have one good story here, one good one. I think you guys will all enjoy this one. MLGW worker robbed while on the job in South Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee. An MLGW worker was robbed at gunpoint in broad daylight on a sidewalk. Police are looking for suspects. Memphis police say the worker was robbed on the 100 block of East Devon Street in South Memphis just after 1 p.m. on September 24th, when he was approached by an armed male wearing an orange shirt and a black mask. The suspect pointed the gun at the MLGW worker and demanded he lay face down on the ground.
Dang it, Bobby.
If you know this suspect, please call the police. So, I don't know. Can you see this guy? This is broad daylight. Broad daylight. Yeah. It is said to believe that it is said to believe that the police said in a statement that the thieves ran off with $55 of cash and a pack of gum.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's
all
I have for tonight. But
for $55 and a pack of gum, that's all I got. That
dude,
okay.
He's got an AK. He hasn't, or I mean, somebody will correct me on that, I'm sure. But it's definitely an automatic. It's an automatic weapon right there. He got away with $55 and a pack of gum. So there you go. Welcome to Memphis.
Meanwhile in Memphis.
Oh, and by the way,
That's
the
awesome.
wife did say I shouldn't even have to do a segment after the fireworks display earlier on the porch. She said that should just tell you where
that
we're
is so. Definitely a Meanwhile in Memphis. Well, you know, Rob said it best, and I posted that up there. There it is. He said natural selection needs to step in on the fireworks issue. Oh, it will.
It's
100%.
Yeah, it definitely will. Unfortunately, some other people will probably pay the price too. But it's every fucking night. I just don't understand. It's an enclosed porch. I don't know. Crazy.
And it was. It's absolutely insane. Great podcast tonight, man.
Man, I could not be happier. That was I think we're getting better at this, brother. I mean, honestly, it's been
I think so.
It's been amazing so far, and we just continue to grow on it, and with great guests, and man, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Well, to close things out, if you want to follow us on Instagram at RealSmokePod. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We desperately need the YouTube followers. By the way, we just hit a little over 1,800 people on Instagram. So congratulations to the podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify at the Real Smoke Podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Cigar Public. You can visit them at cigarpublic.com or on Instagram at cigarpublic. Our brothers and sisters over at Beard Apothecary, John and his wife, make some amazing products, and we'll be having some of those here soon to be able to give out. But you can visit Beard Apothecary at beardapothecary.com or on Instagram at beard_apothecary. And of course, we talked about them a lot. Check out TriStar Herf Crew if you're looking for a great cigar club to be involved with. You can check us out at tristarherfcrew.com or visit us at TriStar Herf Crew on Instagram. And one last comment before we kick out. Somebody says, you guys jive so well together. Great pod. Thank you, young lady. I greatly appreciate that one. It's easy to do when you have a great co-host like your dad.
Man, thanks, girl. I didn't know she was listening tonight, but that's phenomenal. I miss you, girl. Hopefully I will see you soon. Maybe a few weeks. Maybe.
Well, if you guys heard the beginning of it, we kicked things off with a new song. If you're willing to sit back and listen, we're going to close things out with a second song. But hope everybody has a great night. Thanks, Mick, for jumping on here with me again and be willing to do this again. Next week, we have, go ahead and talk about who we have next week.
So next week is Cigars with M. Michelle. We've been friends forever on Instagram, and this is our first chance to really interview her. It started with Real Minutes podcast, and we never had a chance to interview her. So we are so excited. If you do not follow Cigars with M, you need to follow her. She's absolutely amazing. She is such a eloquent voice for the cigar community, and I can't wait. I've been working on questions and everything to interview her and for the podcast for the last couple of weeks here, and I'm so excited to have her on. So it's gonna be an amazing show. Just tune in for that one.
Awesome. Well, you'll get to witness me behind the board as well as Mick taking over the show next week. So I get to push the buttons, and I might have a couple of drinks while I do that one. I will try to lay off of the sound effects because she might not appreciate it. But hope everybody has a fantastic evening. Make sure you go like and subscribe on all of the different social medias. Go check us out. If you like us, put a comment somewhere on one of our social medias and tell us what you liked. If you hated something, comment and let us know what you hated and why you hated it and what we can do to improve on it. And we will do our best. But whether you like it or you don't, give us a comment and we will talk to everybody next week.
Much love, everybody. Have a good night.
Take it easy.